Alright guys, Marie here with Marie's Mobile Mechanics and welcome to the channel. So today, this is the first car of the day. It's a 2013 Honda Fit and we are doing an oil change and customer complaint brakes. So we did test drove it. The customer was thinking it's the fronts. We found that it's the rear, but we'll check the fronts and then definitely we'll fix the rear brakes. Alright guys, so that's the vehicle right there. I've jacked it up already. You can see safety first. We got the jack and then the jack stand to make sure the car is safe to be worked on at the bottom. And then we are going to take the drain plug out using a 70mm socket with a ratchet. And then we got the filter wrench right there. And then we got 0W20 for synthetic oil. And then that's the oil filter part number right there. Once you finish draining to a point where it's just dripping, get your drain plug, inspect it, making sure the washer is good and everything's good. So we'll go ahead and put the drain plug back on and then we'll switch to take out the oil filter. Filter is located right here. This one is not too tight, so we don't need to use the filter wrench. We'll let it drip and then we'll continue taking it out. So you make sure the old filter comes out with the old gasket. In our case, it came out with it. So we'll go ahead and install the new one and then we go from there. Don't forget to put a thin layer of oil for good sealing. Just snag it, don't go too crazy. Get some brake clean and then spray on the oil filter. Alright guys, since we got the car jacked up one side, before we lower it, let's inspect the front brakes to make sure everything's good before we switch to the back ones. Alright guys, so the front brakes, they're not too bad. I don't know if you're able to see right there. We have at least something like about 50%, so we're good in the front. So what I'm going to do right now, put the wheel back on, lower the vehicle, put in some fresh oil, and then we'll switch to the rear brakes. Unfortunately, the rear brakes are drums, and I don't remember the last time I did one. Alright guys, so now we're going to fill up the vehicle with some fresh oil. We're going to use 0W20 for synthetic motor oil right there. This car takes 3.8 and you can see the filler spot is at an angle, so I'm using this long funnel. So we'll give it 3.8 coats and then we'll run the vehicle. We'll reset the oil light later because we need to do the rear brakes. Alright guys, so we turn the car the other way around. We're concentrating in the back. We are going to take the we're going to jack up the vehicle, take the wheel out, make sure safety first. We'll put our jack stand right there, and then in the front, since our driveway is slant a little bit slopey, so we put the chalk in the front for safety as well, so that the car does not blow on us. So let me go ahead, jack up, secure the jack stand, take the wheel out, and then we inspect the brake drum. So we got a problem right here. See, one of them is missing, and then we got this one, which is actually giving us a hard time. So what this means is people that worked on this vehicle before, they over torque the wheels, and this is what causes the lug nuts or studs to break, because they stretch them. So we'll figure out how to take this one out, and then we'll go from there. So it's not even budging, so I guess we have to break it. We are going to install a new one. So I'm going to lower the vehicle and then use a breaker bar just to take that out, and then we should go from there. So we put the two back on just to support the wheel. I'm going to jack the vehicle up a little bit. So just not out. Vehicle, and we'll use the breaker bar. We'll just break it off, by the way. You can see we just broke it off. So we'll jack up the vehicle one more time, secure it with the jack stand, take the two out. Once we take the drum out, we're going to replace the two studs that are actually the one that I just broke and the one that we found missing. I don't know if you're able to see that powder coming off the drum when you spin it. I don't know if you're able to see, but this powder came from the drum. So pretty much I believe these are not good. So grab yourself a hammer and then tap on the sides. This drum should slide out. Alright guys, so definitely the brake shoes are completely gone. You can see the difference. See how much flesh is right there, which is the friction material, and if you follow it down you can see it's almost gone. So pretty much they are actually bad. And then you can see we got the two studs. So I'll show you how to replace the studs and then how to replace the brake shoes. So this is going to be fun. Like I said, I don't remember the last time I did this, but definitely they are doable. So we'll call the parts stores to deliver us the brake shoes, and then we'll return the brake pads. Alright guys, so it's pretty much a bunch of springs you have to take out. The first one you have to take out is this long spring, and then we can come to this side one right there, and then these two on each side, and then this brake shoe should come out. We have another spring at the bottom right there, and then I think the parking brake is connected to this one, so we have to swap this one, which is the parking brake, to the new shoes. Alright guys, so you can see we managed to take everything out. It's just a bunch of springs. So right now, this is the one I was talking about. We have to remove this parking brake from this brake shoe, and then we have to switch this arm. I hope the new ones come with it. If not, we have to switch this arm to the new one. Alright guys, so pretty much the installation is the reversal. So I have to take this piece off from right here. We have to pry out that clip right there, and then slide that rivet off from the back, and then this should remain to the cable, and then we install the new one right there, and the part number is right there. So I'm gonna do that off camera. Alright guys, so you can see we got the new studs. You can check out my short, it will show you how to install the new studs. So right now you can see we got this side on. You can see the retainer spring is also plugged in. So right there we're going to put this retainer spring this way, and then we install the new shoe from this side, and then we go from there. Alright guys, so we got the two brake shoes on both sides. So right now we have to install this bracket right there, and then we have to install this other spring right there, and then lastly this other spring right there. Alright guys, so you can see we got the new brake shoes on, everything back on. What's remaining is putting the drum back on, and then make sure you adjust them to the correct spec, because you need to make sure the parking brake is working. So the way you do that is you put your drum back on, and then you can actually spin that wheel right there. Then one of the directions should be taking the shoes outwards, and one of them should be taking them inwards. So you find the one that will take the shoes how it was, and then keep trying putting the drum back on to where it feels like it's snagging. And then what you do, once you get to the right spot where you want it to be, you can engage the parking brake, get a primer, and see if you are actually spinning. So let me put the drum back on and show you what I'm talking about. Alright guys, so this is what I meant. We got the brake drum back on, but if you spin it, you can see it's spinning very freely, which means we need to adjust it. So you have to take the drum out, spin that wheel that I told you to pull the brake shoes outwards a little bit, because this should be actually just snug. So let me do that, and then I'll bring you guys back. Alright guys, so we've actually gotten to the spec that we need. So you have to actually check the differences before and now. So now I'm gonna spin it, you see how it's gonna behave. So right now, when you engage the parking brake, get a primer or a big screwdriver and then check to see if it will move. If it's moving, which means you need to do more adjusting. So let me do the other side. Pretty much this side we should be good. Alright guys, so after we go to the right spec of where we want our brake shoes to be, so right now you can see it is spinning by hand, you can see, and stop. So we'll come inside the vehicle, we engage the parking brake, and now we can spin it even with the screwdriver. You can see right there. Using force, it's not getting, so that's how you know that your shoes are actually working. So right now I'm gonna put the wheels back on, took them to spec, not what they did last time to where we found these two were broken, and then we'll adjust the oil light, and that should do it for this vehicle. Alright guys, so I forgot one part. We need to reset the oil light for the customer. So I think the way this one is done, you have to press the turn the car on, and you can see it says 15%. So I think you have to do it simultaneously. One hand to put the key on accessory, and then one to press this knob right there. So let's see what we're going to get. I'll turn the car off, and then I hope it will get it. Let's see right there. I went too much. Let's see. I'm activating wipers because I'm using one hand. I think you have to wait for a little bit. Okay, let's try it one more time. There we go. Now it's flashing. So what you're going to do is you're going to let go of that button, let it flash about 3, 4, 5 times, and then you're going to press it down again. And there you go, you got 100%. So that's how you reset the light. So that marks the job on this car. So we'll see you on the next one. Alright guys, so I just put up on my next vehicle. It's a 2013 Jeep Journey, 2.4 liters. We did the diagnosis some time back, so this car needs a throttle body. So I test drove it today, and this car is losing power. Actually, I'm stuck at some Quick Trip gas station, so I just parked it and then went to get my van at where this car was, and then we're going to change the throttle body. So let me show you the codes that we got for this vehicle, and then we go from there. Alright guys, so we got 3 major codes. We got P2112 electronic throttle system unable to open bank 1. We got P2110 electronic throttle control system bank 1 force limited RPM. We got P2118 electronic throttle motor current performance bank 1. So definitely we need to change out that throttle body. And then the engine check light is not on when the car is running, but it's always important to pre-scan the vehicle so that it can give you an idea of what's going on. So we go under the hood, change it out, and then we go from there. So the throttle body is located at the bottom right there. So what we're going to do is we'll take off this vacuum hose from right there. We'll take off this clamp, we'll loosen it using a flathead screwdriver, and I think we have another clamp at the bottom. So once we get to that point, The throttle body itself has got 4 bolts. I believe they are 10s. We are going to disconnect the electrical connector that plugs into the throttle body, and then we should have access to the actually throttle body coming out. Alright guys, so if you look down there, that's our throttle body right there. So let me see if I can put some light in there. So that's the one right there. We got a 10mm bolt right there. We have another one right there, and then we have another one at the bottom right there. Then we have another one hidden on the other side. We got a connector. This is the wiring for the connector right there. This is the one right here, and then we have another 13mm bolt, I believe. It's got a bracket connecting to the throttle board. So we'll take those out and then we go from there. So we got all the 4 bolts out. You can see, and this is the bracket, and the goodness is the bolts, I believe they should be same size. Yeah, all the bolts are same size, so we got all the bolts out. Now the throttle body is hanging to the bottom. Let me pull it and then we disconnect the wiring. Alright guys, so that's our throttle body. You have to press on this tab on both sides, this side and on the other side, and then you can actually just pull it just like so. And this is the one right here. So we got the new one. You can see this one looks a little bit messy. So we got the new one. So let me install it, but let me show it to you on camera so that we make sure it's the right throttle body, and then we go from there. Alright guys, so this is our Duralast new throttle body. You can see that's the part number right there. It's TB1150D, and this is the one right here. It looks exactly the same as the one we had. Let's check the pins. I don't know if the camera will go there, but I counted there are 6 pins, and it looks exactly the same as this one right here. You can see side to side they look exactly the same. So I'm gonna install this one off camera, and then we should be good from there. Alright guys, so we got our new throttle body inside. You can see all shiny right there, everything plugged in. Make sure your connector is plugged in. The 4 bolts talks to spec together with the 13 on the bracket right there. Make sure your air knuckle is also tightened, the bottom clamp and the top clamp. Make sure the vacuum line is also connected. We got our old one right there. So right now we're going to reline or calibrate the throttle body, and then we should be good from there. Also, we have to reset the engine check light. Alright guys, so we are inside the vehicle and we are going to reset the engine check light. We're going to do a quick erase. So the ABS and the airbag restraint codes, we're going to take care of them later, but right now we're looking at the drivability of the vehicle. So also the TGW, I think telematic gateway radio, we have to look into that later, but for now we are most concentrating on the drivability of the vehicle. So right now the engine check that has been reset, so we have to, I think, reline the throttle body. So let me go to that setting and then we'll get to it. So right now we'll try to reline the throttle body. We'll go to hot functions, throttle right there. and we'll just let the scanner do its thing. It's still communicating with the vehicle, and there we go. We got electronic throttle control, throttle follower test, or we have the other one, lane electronic throttle control. I think we'll go with the lane. We'll press that one. This feature will learn the throttle pedal voltages and the accelerator pedal position. We'll press OK. Press and hold the accelerator pedal to the floor. The throttle must be held to the floor. Press OK. So that's what I'm doing right now. You can see right there, my pedal is all the way to the ground, and then the throttle must be held to the floor. Press OK. Just follow the count. 4, 3, 2, 1. Release accelerator pedal and press OK. Counting down. We're on 4, 3, 2, 1. Electronic throttle control lane complete. So you just follow the prompts. It was that easy. So right now we are going to actually drive this vehicle and pretty much observe it, and pretty much that's how you take care of that code right there. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Alright guys, so I just got to my next vehicle. It's a 2000, I believe, 11 Chevy Cruze. We got a coolant leak, so let me show you where the leak is. It is this heater core line that's leaking. You can see I pulled the clip off already, and then all we need to do is take off, loosen that clamp right there. Let me see if I can focus on the clamp. I know it can't show. Let me take that clamp off, and then we got the new one right here. That's the part number right there. So let me take the hose out, and then we go from there. Alright guys, so we loosened everything. We'll start with this side. You can see the hose was just ripped off right there, and then we gotta pull this side off as well. So we got the both sides off. Let me route this hose off, and then we install the new one, and then we go from there. So you can see it's where the rip-off was, and then this side you gotta pull the locking clip off and then pull it out. So let me install the new one, and then we go from there. So we got this side back on as well. You can see when you pull on it, it's not coming off. So what's remaining right now is bleed the coolant. Alright guys, so I just wrapped up this 2011 Chevy Cruze. I've bled the cooling system, so pretty much that marks the job we came for. We'll see you on the next one. Alright guys, so I just put up on my next vehicle. It's a 2016 Honda Civic with the 2.0 liters. Customer complaint is the AC is not blowing cold, and then they want an oil change. So I've jacked up the vehicle already on the passenger side. Safety first, you can see it's secured by a jack stand, and I already took out the skid plate right there. I used a flathead screwdriver and an impact drive with the Phillips torque bit right there. And then for the job, you're gonna need the drain to catch the oil. You're gonna need oil filter wrench, ratchet, and the 70mm socket. And then I'll be using 0W20 for synthetic oil. I'm using Mobile 1, and then I'm also using a Mobile 1 extended performance oil filter. That's the part number right there, M1-110A. So let's screw under the vehicle. One more thing you need to have is a cardboard so that you don't leave dirty at your customer's driveway. In our case, we're just on the apartment. Either way, you have to keep it clean. So right now, let me open the oil filler cap. You can see it's 0W20. Always use what the car is recommended to use. Take that one off. We'll leave it just like so. So let's screw under the vehicle. We drain the oil, and then we'll go from there. So right now the oil is draining. We'll let it drain. Once it gets to a point where it's just dripping, we'll put back the drain plug, and then we'll switch to the oil filter. Alright guys, so right now we are just dripping, so I'll grab the drain plug, and then we are going to inspect it. It looks okay. The washer also looks okay. If the washer is bad, you can actually replace it, but in our case this one looks okay. So I'll go ahead and install the drain plug, and then we'll switch to the oil filter. For the drain plug, all you need to do is just snag it with aluminum pans, so you don't have to go too crazy. So now we'll switch to the oil filter. It's located somewhere around here, and I guess this one wasn't tightened too tight, so we are good to go. Just make sure the old oil filter comes out with the gasket to avoid double gasket. Otherwise, you're going to actually have a major oil leak. We got our new filter. We'll put a thin layer of oil for good sealing. And then we'll go ahead and install the filter. Just snag it as well. Grab some brake clean. So right now we'll lower the vehicle, fill it up with fresh oil, and then we check the level of oil, and then we'll also do the AC diag. So we just fill it up with 0W20 for synthetic oil. We're using Mobile 1. Close the cap, run the vehicle, check the oil level, check for leaks, and everything is good. Then that's it for the oil change. And don't forget to reset the light. So let's head inside the vehicle. We reset that oil light. So right now we'll go ahead and reset the oil maintenance light. We'll put the car on the on position, but not the engine running, and then we'll switch to the center screen. Press home right there. Press OK first. Home right there. And we'll go back home. And then we'll go to settings. Go to vehicle. Go to maintenance. And we're going to reset the oil life, which is oil and filter right there. You can see we are 50%, so I don't know why they wanted the oil change, but either way we're going to reset it just like so. And you can see the maintenance has been reset. So we have other information, I think, which is the engine coolant and then the brake fluid that should be due. So we'll let the customer know. But right now let's go ahead and check the AC. For the AC, I like doing the quickest way to check if the AC is working or not. So the first thing I usually like doing is check the pressures. I usually use a tiny screwdriver, and then open the caps on the high and low pressure hoses, and then poke the valve cores and see if we got pressure. So you got to be careful. That's why you need safety glasses. So let's flip the camera. We do that first and then we'll go from there. So the first thing is to identify where the AC lines are. We got the high pressure right here. We'll take the cap off just like so. Same with the low pressure hose, and you can see the difference. Look on the high pressure hose, it looks dry in there, and then when you come to the low pressure hose, I can see some green stuff right there, which is Freon. So I think that one is leaking, but again, I'm not too sure. So the first thing you're going to do is grab yourself a tiny screwdriver, check for pressure. That's why you have safety glasses on, and just poke it, and then if there's pressure, it's gonna push back. If there's no pressure, you're actually gonna hear nothing. So in our case, you saw that there was pressure a little bit and then it just went dry. So definitely this AC system is dry. Let's check the other one. The same thing. So this is one of the quickest ways I usually check to see if our AC system has got a problem. So in our case, this one definitely has got zero pressure, no freon in the system, and that's why it's blowing hot. So it is always important to know which freon the car takes. These newer cars use a different freon. You can check right here. This one uses the R1234. It's different from the old one. So definitely, customer just wanted to have a Diag done, so I've done my quickest Diag, which is just poking the valve cores, and we got zero freon in the system. So we'll let the customer know, and then we hear what they say. So right now we check the oil level and then check for leaks, and then pack our tools and make sure our working area has been cleaned. Alright guys, so I just put up on my two vehicles for the day. They are both Hyundai Elantras. They are 2017. I did these vehicles not too long ago. The other one we did the Civic axle, and then the other one we did the visor. So today we're just doing an oil change, and then one we're also changing the brake lights, and then the other one we are just doing the oil change and also change the wheel covers. For the other one as well, we'll check the noise, and then customers complaining that actually they have kind of low power, so we'll check that as well. So I've plugged in my scanner, so let me flip the camera, show you the cars, and then we go from there. Alright guys, so right now I'm inside the vehicle with the one the customer is complaining of losing power. So I pre-scanned the vehicle, and engine is good, transmission is good. So the only cause which are there are the occupant classification system defective, warning lamp failure, which is I believe the brake light. So nothing too serious. So I suspect maybe they just need to actually change the spark plugs, or maybe the fuel pump is clogged. So those are the miles on this one. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to turn off this one, set up both vehicles for oil change, and then we go from there. So those are the two vehicles, and I got all the stuff that I need. You can see we're using Mobile One engine oil, the two filters, the drag and the funnel, the mat. We got the drain, oil filter wrench, brake clean, two jack stands, the jack, and then we got our socket set right there. Alright guys, so I just finished up draining the oil and replacing the filters. So this one, since we still have it in the air, customer complaint is when they are driving, those wheel covers are making noise. So we'll change those for the customer. They have bought new ones, so I'm gonna take off the lug nuts and then install the new ones. The other thing is the ones they bought, they come on top of the lug nuts. So we'll take these out and then install the lug nuts and then put the wheel covers on top. So this is the type they bought. So we'll take these out and then swap them with the new ones. So since the car is up on one side, I figure let me do that, and then we'll go to the other side and do the same, and then we'll fill it up with fresh oil. And then when we come to this one, we'll actually replace the brake lights, and then we go from there. Alright guys, so finally I put the wheel covers back on from this to this. So what we're going to do is we'll put some zip ties to make sure these don't fly off for the customer. We'll put on both sides, the rear and the front, and then I'll show you the actually final product. Alright guys, so both vehicles are lower down, so it's time to actually fill them with fresh oil. They both take 4.2 quarts, so I'm going to fill up 4.2 quarts of oil, and then we'll jump to the other one and check the brake, change the brake lights. Alright guys, so I just finished up filling up the vehicles with oil. What's remaining is just to double check the work, run them, check for leaks, check the oil level, and that should be good. I don't know if these have the oil reset light, but we'll check it out later. So for now, let's go to the brake lights. The one that's bad is the right rear one. So to get to these, I think there's this cover right here. Just pull this cover off just like so. It's going to expose, I believe, 2 10mm nuts. There's one right there and there's another one right there. So let's take those two out, and then I can see 2 plastic tabs. I can't remember very well if these come out or there's a bolt that goes in there, or like a rivet, but I'm not too sure. So let's take the 2 10mm nuts out, and then we'll see what happens next. Alright, so once you take the 2 10mm nuts out, you have to come outside. This won't be easy to come out. You have to be gentle. You have to wiggle it back and forth until you get it loose. In my case, I did that, and then it comes off just like so. And then when you look at it from this side, we need to know which light is not coming on. So let me ask somebody to step on the lights, and then we'll see which one we need to replace. So I'll ask the other guy to press on the brakes. Can you press? So you can see this side is lighting up. And then let's check the other side. Can you press one more time? This side is not coming on, so the one we need to replace is the top one right there. All you have to do is just twist and then it should come out. Okay, thank you. And you can see this one is bent, so all you have to do is push and twist. See, it comes off just like so. So we have a replacement. So let's go ahead and check what the customer bought and see if they got the right parts. Alright guys, so customer bought the white bulbs, and then the one we took out was a red one. So I believe it's the same, but just the color difference. So we'll go ahead and install this one, and then pretty much the installation is the reversal. Just slide in the bulb and then twist it to lock in place, and then also that's for the bulb. And then for the whole assembly, slide it in as well and then twist. It should be in place, and then install your headlamp assembly back on, and then test to see if it's working. So we installed the bulb, and then we asked somebody to press on the brakes to see if they are working. So it's working. So right now I'm just gonna install this assembly back in there, and then we should be good. Alright guys, so I just got down with the two vehicles. So what's remaining right now is just checking the oil levels and then packing up the tools and cleaning up the working area.